And good evening. Welcome to Tuesday night Q&E. Q&A.
You and E. How about C&E or
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but
that was Hey
maybe it's
Sky
just
Ricky.
early. It's just too early. What
I'll get
video?
that.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah. Sky Ricky losing feed. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Brentwood.
Oh,
Um, well, Sky Ricky, let me ask you real quick while you're still here. I was going to try to cover the RRSP, RRIF issue tonight. Is it a good night for you,
hello, Sky.
or
Hey, Brentwood.
is your connection a little sketchy? Because
Glitchy
I
here
can
too.
wait.
Is it us or is it them?
Um,
Okay,
got a
Brentwood,
glitch.
Melissa. Okay, Sky's.
Everybody's glitchy.
What'd you do, Clay?
It's not me. Um, I am looking. Let's see.
It's the YouTube Nazis.
Wi-Fi is good. So
Yeah, I
I
got
would
you.
have to attribute the issue to either StreamYard or YouTube.
Let us know if y'all lose us.
Yeah, hopefully it. Yeah, if we get disconnected, y'all just
We'll be right back.
y'all
Don't worry.
y'all just let us know. Yeah, if we well, that's the problem. If I disconnect, the whole broadcast is cut off. I don't know if I can restart it. Don't know. Never tried it.
You'd have to redo the stream, but people are
Come up
pretty good
with a
about
new
finding it.
link and all.
Oh, we're back. Seems okay now. Whatever you did, Clay. Oh,
I just
jeez.
laid my hands on the computer and told it to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? You look all intense there.
I'm trying to
This
send you this
channel's
video. But apparently, I have to edit it first because it's a
this
little bit
channel's
too
the
long.
only way I can find out what Ellen's up to.
That's not true. Let's see if I
She
can do
is
it now.
all intense about this thing.
That's
Well,
what I
hope
do.
everybody had a good weekend so far. It's good to be with you again. Was kind of a fun day. This was the last day of class for me, so have a couple of finals coming up over the next week, and then school's out for Christmas. Get a month off. Have I told y'all my job does not suck?
But you're having surgery tomorrow, so everyone pray.
Yeah, having excuse me, eye surgery, cataract. This eye, my left eye, is practically going blind. Cataracts advancing rapidly in it, and so going to have each eye done, but they're just a week apart. So, but getting the first one done early tomorrow. Kind of looking forward to it. It'd be nice to be able to see again.
I'm
And
not.
by
I gotta get
see,
up
I mean
early.
like I can't even read print on the TV or road signs.
I gotta get up early and take your ass there.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It'll be all right.
Melissa, school's out for the
For
summer.
the summer.
And, and actually, every last day of class in the spring for the spring semester, I play that song. I even posted on my Facebook page
Okay, so
and will till I quit teaching.
I can't send you. Thank you, Sky. I can't send you to you get your Moffat on Money at Gmail, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send it there, the video. Because it's less than 25 megabytes, but it's being weird on me.
Yeah, shouldn't
Continue on. I'll be back in just a sec.
Ellen is determined that y'all watch this movie. It's a little video clip she took while she was down at her grandfather's. And it just brings her great joy.
And I like sharing my joy.
Yes. And her
Nothing will do it now. Sorry, hang on.
Her grandfather just has really added a whole new dimension to her life. So very glad to see it. Hello, Carson. How the hell are you? Good to see you.
Let me try that.
While Ellen is trying to get computer savvy, we'll talk a little bit about some of the economic economic news out today. We had the job report come out, often called JOLTS, which updates the job activity for the last month. Booming economy, 5.2% GDP. Well, yeah, maybe not. According to the JOLTS report, job openings collapsed. They were down to 8.7 million versus an expected of 9.3. Okay. Also, the previous 4 months were revised downward. So if you've been following this show for long, you've heard me complain about the poor quality of a lot of the economic reports. And you've heard me talking about how some of the numbers have been grotesquely massaged, vastly different from what they should be and what some of the underlying information tells us they should be. So here we have, kind of a definite question mark thrown in the works with a 5.2% GDP. Job hiring should be through the roof. Now, the actual versus the predicted here was what is called a 6 sigma miss. 6 sigma miss. Sigma is standard deviation. And when you have an expected number, there is a certain variance. I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. There's a certain variance within normal error because the participants in the who come up with the estimates, like Goldman, Morgan, et cetera, they have access to tons of good raw data. And they've been doing this for decades. So they normally have a fairly good grip on what the actual number will be. So they publish their estimates and then the actual number comes out. And it's normally within one standard deviation. They'll won't always hit it, but it's normally relatively close. Well, this is 6 standard deviations away. So let me translate that to you in terms of the odds of that happening. A 3 sigma deviation would be approximately 400 to 1 odds that would ever occur. You would get a variance that bad.
So you're saying a 6 would be like winning the lottery.
A 6, no. Well, it depends on how big is the lottery. 6 is like a 900 million to 1 chance.
Right.
Huge error. The odds are virtually statistically impossible that the error is that large, is what I'm saying. So when you get a 6 sigma event, that's kind of a confirmation that the numbers are being manipulated.
No.
I mean, just statistically saying the data is garbage, oftentimes garbage.
I think everything you hear now is garbage. I mean, all of it.
So much of it. It's hard to get good information nowadays. We've got access to tons and tons of data, tons and tons of information, but a lot of it is garbage. We've got information that's a mile wide and an inch deep.
Oh, at least.
So jobs.
Hang on. I'm tired, Carson. I'm tired of feeling like I got good stuff done at work today. Yeah, he sent out a train to Aurora, North Carolina. Which
a train?
Yeah, he does the train thing. He has some train thing. He works with trains, loading them,
Well, cool.
sending them off, something. But that's in the Outer Banks, Aurora, which is cool.
Interesting.
And then we got
when I was but a young lad, probably 5 or 6, the neighbors and my family were real close. But the guy,
was that before color TV?
The guy loved trains. And, you know, like on a Sunday afternoon or something, we would occasionally go, and he had this little ledge he could park on, and we would just sit there and watch trains come and go through Birmingham. And he would point out the engine type, size, you know, capacity, whatever. And he ended up moving down to the coast, but he leased some track, and he bought a caboose and a box car and converted them to a living little house. And that's where he ended up living and spending his last days.
I love that.
So a good guy, Billy Conway, just a good guy. And he kind of created my love for trains. I still love trains.
Trains are cool.
And we'll just,
when you're 17 and 20 and you're 18 and 21 and your mother and stepfather decided to take you on a train trip for 3 hours with their new 2-year-old, you kind of want to shoot yourself in the head. My brother and I were singing, I would walk 500 miles. And then he would do the next line. And it was like, just get me off this freaking train. But anyway.
Yeah, I still love trains. When I was in high school, sometimes the high school wasn't too far from a series of tracks, and we would jump a train as it was going down the tracks. They would move a little slow, and we'd jump it, ride it a few miles, hop off, you know, walk back or try to catch another train coming back, whatever. And what's the famous train out of Russia? It's not the Orient Express.
That's the only one I know of.
Can't think of the name, out of Moscow, but I rode it once overnight from Moscow to St. Petersburg. We'll try to take trains whenever I can.
Look, Brentwood has a comment here. Then we got a couple more.
The government manipulated numbers. Come on, Clay. They would never. Please do not for 1 second think I would ever accuse the government of manipulating information to suit its own interest. Carson, when I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. He took you on a train to the city. I remember going to parades, Thanksgiving Day parades, Veterans Day parades, and I kind of miss that a little bit. Now, the little town I live in has a funky Christmas parade. I missed it this year, but it's kind of cool.
We were in it last year. We
couple years ago.
Got in it. Was it a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Time flies.
But it's a small town parade, but like people will have boats and they'll decorate the boats with Christmas lights, and they'll have like Miss Yacht Basin, 2023, the beauty queen or whatever, or they'll have their family and their kids in their boat. There's a farm that raises llamas, and you'll have the llamas in the parade. You'll have little girls tumbling down the road. Of course, you get the Shriners in the little go-karts zipping around. A lot of tractors. But, I like the llamas. I'm not going to lie. It's always cool when the llamas come bouncing down the middle of the street.
As long as they don't spit on you, you're fine.
Yeah. And, you've got a few cowboys with horses, a few other things. It's just an eclectic mix of stuff, people, and personalities. So it's just kind of a fun little parade.
All right. This next comment, you have to let me start first. Okay. So Melissa, Pharaoh equinologist, is that an iron horseologist? Equine, Pharaoh? I'm trying. That's my first guess.
It's not a bad guess.
I'm going with breaking down the word. He's
Yeah,
the
not
ology of horse iron.
it
It
is.
is. Woo! Point for me.
That's really kind of funny because there's a little time delay between the voices coming over the computer and the actual voices. And I hear literally Ellen's upstairs in another room. I heard her scream, and then it comes
Right out.
across. Yeah,
I
then it
felt
comes
pretty good
across the
about that
computer.
one.
She was genuinely excited.
So, does he shoe horses? I'm assuming.
Or does he make sculptures of horses? Or does he study sculptures of horses? There's actually a explanation. You know, horses can be on all 4 feet, have 1 foot raised, or be up on the 2 back legs. And
Because I don't know what an iron horsologist is.
yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it's something like if the horse, you know, it has the rider like the general on top of the horse. Iron horses
Oh,
train.
trainologist. Duh.
Duh.
Get it now. Okay. At least I
He's a
got
train
the
engineer.
word. Yeah. He's a trainologist.
Yes. But you know, with the horse with 4 legs, I believe it's if all 4 legs are touching the ground, that the individual died naturally. If there is, if the horse has 1 leg up, the individual died later from wounds sustained in combat.
What are we talking
And if
about?
it's 2 legs up, horse statues with the rider.
Oh.
If it's 2 legs up in the air, they died in combat. They died in battle.
Student and lover
So,
of trains.
ferroequinologist, a student and lover of trains. There would be many of us on here.
Oh,
I
my
think that's pretty
grandfather
cool.
he had his ping pong table covered with, he made me a dollhouse when I was a little girl and when I was a little girl, that was in the 80s, that had electricity, and he made all the furniture, got all the little kits and the dolls, and every room had lights, and the bathroom had like the double lights on each side of the mirror. And that was really cool. But he had he took the ping pong table downstairs and made it into a train, like with all of the hills and valleys and the moss, and did a train track. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, Billy Conway had kind of an elaborate train running through his basement, little holes in the wall, and a lot of the dude just loved trains. His postcards every Christmas were trains on the cover.
I'm sorry, I forgot to give the dogs their shoes. And they are starting.
And they're getting a little demanding.
Well, they're mad because if I can do this without ripping, Mahoney is in their bed. Y'all can see her there. Yeah.
And the dogs actually know what night it is, and they know that they get a treat to chew on. So,
and they get pretty upset about the whole thing.
It's kind of funny. Did not know that about horse statues. I heard that and then looked it up years ago. And statues and architecture. I love architecture, and particularly like old Gothic churches with all the reliefs and statues. It all tells a story. For example, Adam's apple. You know how we get, come by the name Adam's apple. Well, if you go to some of these old churches like at Chartres or Notre Dame or what's the one? Chartres. There's a third one starts with an A. I can't think of the name. Anyway, on the front there'll be a the story of the fall with Adam and Eve. And Adam is always pictured, it's Adam. He's always pictured because he's clutching his throat. He's choking on an apple, the Adam's apple. So literally, as you go around the church, you have all these reliefs and sculptures telling the story of the Bible. And it's just such great detail. So much thought goes into the architecture. Nowadays we throw up a Butler building and think, that's cool. And I'm like, we're losing out. You've got hell, the Roman highways built 2,500 years ago are in better condition and still endure without repairs versus, a lot of our modern highways, which break down in a few years, need patching
Aliens.
with aliens.
Mm-hmm. So
So
Brentwood Chic, that is now the cat's bed. Apparently it is because she has taken over. We have a couple beds on the porch, the screen porch, and she has taken that over, and she's taken the one in my bed over. So I guess they actually are the cat bed now.
yeah, Mahoney's getting pretty much whatever she wants right now since she started having the seizures. She's
the baby.
Mahoney gets whatever she wants. My dad has a platform in their basement. My parents go to train shows regularly. Trains are like
cooler than
Jeeps.
trains.
Huh? Ma'am?
There's nothing cooler than the model trains. I love them.
Yeah.
To watch them go through the tunnels and it's neat.
Yeah, trains are like Jeeps. You either love them or hate them. Not a whole lot of in between. And I love them. How's that little flood doing?
With Mahoney, she had another seizure.
Yeah.
That
we know of. She's had two that we know of, about a week apart. So
they're another flood.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything lately. She's been outside in the day. We generally get her in at night, but do let her outside during the day.
Okay, Flip. Yeah, yeah. She normally she would never lay in the bed like this ever. Now, can I give a little bit of personal information without actually saying who the person is?
Go ahead.
My ex-husband is a veterinarian. Great. So his idea is that she has rabies. I'm like, because she's so lovey and cuddly, she must have rabies. I'm like, you're an idiot. But he is an idiot.
No comment.
Yeah. Well, it's true. So yeah.
That was really poor judgment to offer up that opinion.
Yes, it wasn't. I didn't ask him. My daughter did. And I was like, you idiot. What are you doing?
Yeah.
He's always going to give something that makes me look like an asshole. Always. But anyway.
Ellen's rant off now.
Sorry. You get to rant for hours.
But never about my exes.
Well, he deserves it. I'm sorry. You got to show the tractor video real quick.
I don't have it yet.
I sent it to you. It should be at the EDU.
All right. Well, let me try that. Take a minute.
Yeah, my grandfather and I had 5,000 things to do Monday before I left. And I hop in the shower. Do you have it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to set this up. I hop in the shower and I hear this noise. And I'm sitting there in the shower going, no, he didn't. And so I had to videotape or video record a little bit of what he was doing because it was so cute and so funny. And I was like, we only have like 10,000 things to do today. Go ahead.
Let me get this over.
You got to do the whole sound thing. I don't know how you.
Working on it.
Okay.
Wasn't prepared for this, so it's taking me just a minute to set it up here.
But it's so cute.
All right. here we go. This is Ellen's 96-year-old grandfather who has been repeatedly told he can't do anything.
Not by me. Not by me.
So here he is. Ellen's around him, being a bad influence on him, got him out actually doing yard work.
That's all there was?
Yeah.
No, it should be more than that.
That's all there was.
That's all it would let me do. It only let me send 10 seconds.
Okay.
Anyway. But it was cute. He was going, after I took my camera or my phone down, I went and actually moved my car so he could get where my car was and all that good stuff. But he won't do it when any of the, when I say that there were other people there besides me, I don't mean friendlies. They were anyway, they won't let him do anything. They tell him he's feeble and all this stuff all the time, and I'm scared he's starting to believe it.
Yeah, but he is, y'all saw him on the channel the other night. He's kind of a spry old guy. And he's, like I say, he and Ellen have just been pretty good for each other. So they're both getting a little perkier. Now, back to
Sky Ricky's question.
The money part. We're getting there.
I'm sure
we saw today.
What? Come on.
We saw today that stocks chopped, bonds rocked after the JOLTS report came out. Basically, it caused a modest increase in bond prices, which not a lot of people follow. I do, because it actually is relatively important. And the main movement was in the longer end, the 10s, 20s, 30s, 30-year bonds, as investors tried to lock in longer yields in anticipation of Fed rate cuts, which the market keeps thinking are going to start coming sooner and sooner. The odds are increasing now that the Fed will actually cut rates in January or February. Anyway, the market has held these kind of predictions for 7 or 8 times now over the past 2 years, and each time they've been wrong. Jay Powell, the chairman of the Fed, keeps disappointing them. So is this they setting themselves up for number 8, or will they finally be right this time? We'll see. But that's what was moving the market. The stock market pretty much chopped, didn't move a whole lot either way. Now the Fab 7 had a good day today. We've talked about the Fab 7 with the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P. They've dropped past the past 4 days, but today they covered some ground. The other 493 stocks in the S&P 500 didn't do squat. They were flat or down. The cool news of the day was Bitcoin. Bitcoin blew past 44,000, which, if you remember, was it a year ago? No, 9 months ago, it was at around 16. I'll have to look to be sure about that, but
it was way above that, then just fell.
Yeah, it got up to 60,000, then fell to about 15, 16. Well, blew past 44,000 today. It was up 5% today alone, which that's a pretty damn good day. Over a 5-day week, that's 25% in 1 week. Take that to a year, you get the idea. Ethereum, the other major coin, was up only about 2.5%. Ethereum's lagged a little bit the past few days behind Bitcoin because the SEC is dragging its feet on approving a ETF in Ethereum. Now, it approved one in Bitcoin, which that really means that the market for Bitcoin has opened up even wider. More and more people will find it easier to invest in this ETF than they do go to the trouble and actually buy Bitcoin directly. So the ETF makes it available to more investors, makes it easier, makes it more liquid, gives it a stamp of legitimacy that maybe with some people it lacked before. So that's one reason why Bitcoin is really jumping lately, because the ETF makes investing in it so much easier. We've talked about the dollar getting hammered over the past month or two. Well, today the dollar was a little higher. 2 days in a row, the dollar's bounced up. Gold dropped. Gold dropped to about 2,000, down from its high yesterday of 2140. So that's, $140, $150 drop. That's a pretty good drop. Now, one thing that's not really financial, but I saw it all last night and I've seen it all day today on the Twitters and the Insta and whatever else, the house explosion. Now, I don't know how many of y'all have seen that.
Explosion? What do you mean, explosion?
Yeah, okay. If you say, what do you mean? Well,
The house exploded, or
yes,
the
the
prices
house
went down?
exploded
Oh, you mean an actual explosion?
in
Okay.
Arlington, Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. A former government security official.
Ooh.
Well, during the day, he had been firing a flare gun at his neighbors, about 30 or 40 rounds, apparently.
Wow.
So the police get called, and the police, he has this gun and he refuses to let them in. So they call and get a warrant to enter the house forcibly. Well, here they are driving up. They're about to serve the warrant, and I'll just let the video communicate on its own.
Whoa! No! Holy macaronis!
Yeah, that's kind of impressive. This is right outside of DC, upper middle class neighborhood.
Yeah, with the house that size, it would have to be. That's crazy. I mean, it just leveled that thing.
Yeah. And looking at the way it explodes and ignites, it's really just a big fireball. You can see the fire igniting there. And so my guess is it's a natural gas explosion. When I first saw this, I thought it was possible, saw it last night. And I was sitting there thinking it's probably meth or terrorist who had some demo. Well, it's not demo, too big of a fireball. And there's not enough percussive power. So
when you couldn't do that, even if you set a bomb off and like just a grenade, it wouldn't do that.
No, a grenade wouldn't come anywhere close to that.
Mm.
So, I'm thinking of natural gas. Intentional? Did he cut a gas line, let it bleed out till it finally, ignited?
Was it like did he die? Did he like suicide by?
The assumption is that he died.
Well, I didn't know if he was there. I assume he was there and he was just over whatever. Yeah, Brentwood Chic said gas.
No, the interesting thing is, haven't seen much of anything on this in the news. I looked on Fox, I looked on ABC, I looked on NBC, I looked on CNN. CNN had a little blurb about 2 pages down.
Okay,
Brentwood's apparently gotten some information. But even the article I saw on CNN left out a lot of pertinent information. For one, this guy had a LinkedIn page and a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly on the LinkedIn page, there was a ton of info. He was a far leftist, white hatred, pro Hamas, hated Trump kind of guy.
Was he white?
And he accused, his name was James Yu, so probably Asian in descent. His pictures look somewhat Asian. He had run-ins with the FBI before.
Here we go.
He accused his neighbors of being spies on social media.
Brentwood. He was known to the FBI for reporting multiple frauds against him, sounding like he may have been unstable. I
He
would say
was
that's
highly.
a fair assumption. Yeah.
Yeah, he even emailed like Ray, the director of the FBI, Robert Mueller, the DA, Robert Kennedy, and this guy had been the former head of security for the U.S. Government Committee on Foreign Investment.
That's really scary.
He also had been committed to a mental institution by his wife and younger sister, and then he sued them both for committing him.
Was
He
his wife there?
emailed.
Was he
No,
by
I don't think
himself?
so. I think
Okay.
so. He
Brentwood,
emailed hundreds of people at the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
He emailed hundreds of people at the FBI and DOJ, and just was losing it.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of a little background to this that I have not seen, or you will not, or at least up to now have not seen on the news media. And I just, and I literally saw that house blowing up 40 times today.
Did you?
But no other information.
Bottles collected. You're back.
Welcome, Carson. You missed the house blowing up. My condolences. That was pretty cool.
He can rewind and watch it. It is impressive. I'm sure he probably saw it though. Lord.
So
don't
Sky Ricky,
for security.
Sky Ricky asked a question the other night. She asked for information about retirement plans in Canada, particularly what is known as the RRSP and RRIF.
I'll be right.
So we're going to talk about that. Yeah, Brentwood. I feel bad for neighboring homes that were damaged. Don't you know it? And no telling how badly they were damaged. Now, like I say, it looked like from the video, most of the, explosion was released upward. So hopefully, other than a few windows, maybe some, siding issues or roofing shingles, hopefully nothing terribly structural or significant. They're lucky it was, a gas blast. And so it was a relatively slow ignition. So RRIF. RRIF stands for Registered Retirement Savings Plan. I'm sorry, RRSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. RRIF is Registered Retirement Investment Plan. Income. I'm going to get this right in a minute. RRIF is Registered Retirement Income Fund.
Are you sure you got this?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm having trouble with words today. I don't know why. Not really today, just tonight. So the two are subtly different. We'll talk about that. The RRSP, and I'm going to just call them the SP and IF. The SP, the savings plan, is similar to the 401k or IRA in the U.S. It's a retirement fund that individuals in the U.S., IRAs are for individuals, 401ks have to be set up by an employer or someone with a company.
That's the IF.
Pardon?
That's the IF.
SP, savings plan.
Okay, because she was talking about an IF to
Ellen,
an SP.
Ellen.
I'm just trying to get it right. Trying to understand what's going on here.
The savings plan is something that individuals can establish and fund with tax-deductible contributions. And much like with the 401k or IRA here in the U.S., you can transfer monies from the savings plan into other registered plan. And when I say registered plan, that just simply means that contributions to it are tax-deductible and accumulate tax-free. So you don't pay taxes on it while it's in the plan.
But you do have to pay taxes on it when you get it. out of
when you withdraw it from the plan.
you're always going to pay taxes.
So in the IF, the income fund, okay, let me restate it. The SP is to accumulate money. The IF is to pay out the money. So in the US, we do it without having to change funds. In Canada, you have to change funds. You make contributions to the savings plan, and by the time you're 71 years old, you can no longer hold on to the savings plan. You have to transfer it to the income plan, the income fund. You can't hold on to the savings plan forever. Again, savings plans designed to accumulate, IFs designed to pay them out. So at any age up to 71 in Canada, you have different options for your savings plans. One option, obviously, is establish an RRIF, an income fund, and roll over the RSP into it.
Is there a benefit to that?
Let me finish.
Sorry.
The RRIF, once you put money into the IIRF, you have to, no matter what age you are when you put it in the IF. And the IF, there is a minimum amount that you have to take out every year, depending on your age. Here's a table.
Is that kind of like a annuity in the US?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It is a payment stream. It is a form of an annuity, but most annuities that you buy are may have a lifetime benefit or a fixed number of years benefit.
Right.
This one simply changes the minimum amount you have to pay out of it depending on your age, according to this table. So if you fund the IF when you're age 65, you have to take out a minimum of 4% from the fund a year. And then when you turn 71, you have to take out a minimum of 5.28%. And on down the line till you get to be 90, you have to take out 20%. So you've got a fixed minimum amount you have to take out every year from the IF. That's a function of law. Now, any income you take out from the IF is taxable. Another option would be you can use the money in the savings plans to just buy, as Ellen mentioned, an annuity. The transfer into the annuity is tax-free. The payments from the annuity will still be taxable. The difference is the annuity, like I say, you can get an annuity that pays for a fixed number of years and it'll have a fixed payment, or you can get an annuity that will pay you for the rest of your life.
And then
And it will be a lower payment, but potentially a longer payment.
The balance, they will also transfer whatever's left over to a beneficiary.
In an annuity?
Some of them, yes. Some of them.
Most standard annuities won't. If you elect the beneficiary option, then you'll receive an even more reduced amount. So, but that is possible. The third option
have a pretty good rate of return as far as the interest rate. I don't know what RRIF, what they invest in, or if they invest in anything.
Yeah, the RRIF, the RRSP are just legal structures like our IRA. In either one, you can invest in stocks, bonds, GICs, guaranteed investment contracts, bank deposits, mutual funds, whatever. Okay. So it's really just a legal structure, not necessarily an investment asset. The third option is that you can just directly withdraw the money from the savings plan. Once you withdraw it, again, it's taxable. So you pay the taxes on it, and then it's just your money, after tax money. You do what you want to with it. So the three choices, again, you can invest in any kind of asset, most any kind of asset you want. It accumulates tax-free until you're withdrawn. There's no minimum amount for withdrawal from the savings plan. No minimum. I'll say it again. There's no minimum amount for withdrawal from the savings plan. Now, again, once you turn 71, you have to roll it over into the income fund. And once you're in the income fund, there is minimum withdrawal amounts. There's no maximum. There is the minimum withdrawal amounts.
So technically you could withdraw all of it and invest it in something else.
Yes.
Okay.
If you, you don't have to put it in an IF. But IF, you can roll it over into an IF. It's a tax-free rollover.
But you still
And
gotta
then
pay
you take the
taxes.
minimum withdrawals that are taxable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. If you roll your savings plan over into another investment that's not the RRIF, is
If
that
it's not,
taxed? Is if it's another,
if it's not an annuity, if it's not the IF, it's taxable.
okay. So you can't just roll it over into anything. It's got to
No.
be, okay.
Now, just to be clear, at 71, you have to convert the savings plan to an IF or an annuity. You have to start withdrawing the minimum amount at 72. During the year, the calendar year, you turn 72. Now, that payout, that minimum payout, which
Hang on.
is,
So make this clear. So you have to turn it over to the IF at 71,
right,
but you don't have to withdraw it for another year.
you have to start payments in the year after you roll it into an IF. So if you roll it
Receiving
into an IF at 65, you have to start withdrawals in 66 in that calendar year
But
that you
could
turn
you,
66.
let's say you're 71 and you want to start receiving them immediately.
You can do that.
Okay. I don't know if you had to wait a year
No,
or, okay. I'm just trying to
no, that's fine.
get
That's
devil's
fine.
in
We
the-
want to be clear. So you have to start, if you roll it over when you're 71, you have to start taking the minimum percentage out
within a year.
in 72. In that calendar year, you turn 72. Now, how you take it out, you can choose a schedule that lets you take it out monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or just one annual payment a year. So you could literally wait till December of the year you turn 72 and take out the whole 5.28% of the fund that you are supposed to take out as a minimum distribution.
I'm gonna ask a stupid question.
No such thing.
Is how is the amount of payments you take out, or if you take it out monthly, quarterly, yearly, does that affect the taxes that are paid on that amount? Like, what if you take it all out at one time?
No,
you're
because
gonna
it's the
take a bigger
it's
chunk.
it's the same amount for the whole year. It's just like, paying taxes here in the US. If I get 100,000 in January or 100,000 in December, or I take out, 8,333 a month, my taxes at the end of the year are all the same. Taxes due are all the same. Because I
Okay.
show $100,000 in income for that year.
Right, but a lot of times if you get like a big payment, they up your tax bracket on that payment.
No, it's just based on your annual income.
Right, even though you can go back and say, no, that's not, that was my annual income. But
Yeah, it's just your annual income.
all right, just making sure we're clear.
Not a problem. Now, if you die, during this time you're receiving funds from the RRIF, if you have a named beneficiary, the funds can be excluded from your estate and probate. So, that's one thing that if you're setting up a RRIF, you may want to consider. In addition, if you're taking out the minimum payment each year, the minimum percentage each year based on your age, taxes don't have to be withheld by the institution that is servicing your RRIF. If you take out more than the minimum, then the institution has to withhold taxes. So the withhold tax amounts up to $5,000 is 10%. 5,000 to 15,000 is 20%. Over 15,000 is 30%. So you could take for example, if you're 72 and the minimum withdrawal is 5.28%, you could take that amount of cash, add $5,000 to it, and 10% of the whole amount is taken out in withholdings. So you could take out more money and not have that much, after taxes.
Isn't that what I just said?
Something like that.
Carson, you didn't see it.
First day with a new tongue,
Yes.
Seriously, I don't know what the problem is, but I'm tripping all over it.
Sorry. See, I always thought it was when I always got paid, when I got paid a much larger amount, like as a bonus, they took way more out in taxes than as a percentage than my normal paycheck.
Well, it's just like the withholding table I just quoted is the amounts you take out increase, so does the tax percentage.
Right, even though it may all flatline.
You may get it in a refund at the end of the year. So it doesn't change the net tax due. It just changes the initial amounts taken out.
That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Okay.
I also wanted to mention, this is pretty important. Probate and estates are a pain in the bunghole. And let me tell you, if you have an elderly parent, grandparent, whatever, who has cash in the bank, who has anything, get them to add somebody to their account, because then it doesn't go through probate. It doesn't get taxed. It is just whoever's name is on there. It just becomes theirs. There's no issue there. That's the same with deeds to houses and everything else. Just, it's so much easier.
Yeah, you want to do anything you can to avoid probate. Probate is slow, cumbersome, and expensive.
Yes, you'll end up paying more than you get back in the end. It's just like, it's ridiculous. Just, there are so many. We should probably do a whole estate video, because I have learned so much in the past few months.
Carson, if you're tripping over your tongue, it's time to return it to Gene Simmons. Most people may not know who Gene Simmons is. Gene Simmons was one of the singers of Kiss, the rock band Kiss. And he was best known, not for his musical abilities, but he was best known for his tongue, which literally could stick out and touch underneath your chin, underneath his chin. Extremely long tongue. And I saw a little video from one of his daughters, and she was sitting there going, people don't believe me when I say I'm Gene Simmons' daughter. Then she stuck out her tongue. It was like, that's Gene Simmons' daughter. No doubt about it. Got a mile long tongue. Sky Ricky, is it the accountant who figures out how much to put in the RRIF? No, you roll over your whole savings plan.
You have to at 71, right?
You have to close the savings plan. You can roll it into part of it into an IF. You can roll part of it into annuity. You can take part of it as a lump sum. So you really don't need an accountant to do that.
But what you
My
take out as a lump
understanding.
sum will be taxed.
Do what?
Whatever you take out as a lump sum will be taxed.
Yes, whatever you keep in your personal name without putting it either in the annuity or the IF will be taxed as ordinary income. As
And
regular income like salary.
And if your accountant has, we don't know your situation, but if your accountant has an idea about how you should do it, look, my basic principle is always get a second opinion, just to find out financially what your best options are. I don't know what Clay thinks about that, but that's just always.
I think you always ought to get all the opinions you can. Information. You never have too much information in making financial decisions. You know, sometimes it becomes more complicated, and I try to simplify things. Like I say, I'm not offering financial advice or investment advice. I'm not offering advice that's particularized or individualized for you or anyone else. I just am speaking generically just to try to help spread some information, give some better insight, help people better understand their options and their risk. Okay. But I'm not saying my advice is complete nor perfect. By all means, seek out people you can trust. And you know, in terms of trust, sorry,
Clay,
go ahead.
of course. You can email Clay, of course, and, you know, give more details, and he could probably guide you in a direction that at least you know what's going on.
Well, I'll always be glad to offer you anyone general advice or my opinion, maybe what I would do or consider or ask. But again, I'm no longer registered as an investment advisor, not licensed in any state. So I
It'd be
cannot.
asking a friend who has some knowledge and take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I am not and cannot give anybody specific investment advice. Carson, since employment income can vary and dealing with variable tax rates will be why a person can have more taxes taken out on a big check. Exactly. Yeah, they're always going to lean toward taking out more rather than less taxes because people sometimes have a hard time coughing up money for taxes. And so if they can collect it in advance
for themselves.
Do what?
I said, ask any hairstylist that works for themselves.
So if they can go ahead and collect it up front, kind of ensure that they get the taxes taken out, that's their preference. And that's kind of what I've noticed how they structure the tax tables.
Yeah, they would rather give you money back than not get their money.
Yeah. And particularly for those people who don't even file taxes, they just get to keep the excess. Melissa, an estate video would be great. I don't mind trying to do one, but it's a very complex area and it's very
we can give
customizable depending on the state or country you're in.
But as far as certain,
I could talk about the general overview, the terms, the general process, that kind of thing.
And everything I've learned in the past 6 months.
So if something like that would be helpful, I would be glad to do that.
Yeah. I just, from everything that I've learned and found out with my grandfather, it's to skip probate is the best thing. And there are ways that you can do that.
Yeah. And so we can cover some of those basic ways. But again, you know, if you've got a simple, like, you know, most people have a relatively simple estate. You know, it's not, there's only the house and, you know, maybe the retirement assets and they all go to the kids or a kid or a spouse, or maybe you want to set up a trust so the money is paid to the spouse, then the money goes to the kids, whatever. If you're doing a trust, you need an attorney. But if it's just a simple, straightforward, everything goes to my daughter kind of thing, everything goes to my children kind of thing, a simple will should, probably oftentimes would suffice. The main thing is you want to try to bypass probate. And the best way to do that is to put, your spouse's or kid's name on the deed to the house. So it goes directly to them. On your bank accounts, savings accounts, put their name on it or name them beneficiary, and it'll bypass probate, go directly to them.
Mm-hmm. And with this is a hypothetical situation. Let's say a man bought a house with his wife and her daughter from another marriage moved in, right? Well, the mom died and they had a joint deed with rights of survivalship. So if the husband and wife were 99% owners, bought the entire home themselves, right? The wife dies. Now, if the husband dies, the stepdaughter gets everything, period. But there are ways to even manage that. There are all kinds of things that you can do. Anyway, we'll get to that in another video. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Carson.
Carson, but if you're taking a fixed amount out of retirement income, you'll know how much is going to be for the year so you can better calculate the tax burden. Yeah, you can estimate your taxes pretty good if you have a fixed income. That shouldn't be a problem. Thank you, Brentwood. This is not financial advice, just simply my opinion, a few general ideas. Melissa, anything would be great. Fair enough. We'll try to come up with something. Carson, hairstylists working for themselves just needs enough claimable income to look probable.
I identify with that. Okay.
No comment. Melissa, as someone who's never had a proper money education, I don't even know what questions to ask or things to look further into. Well, you've come to the right place. And, at least we'll get, we get this discussion started and hopefully cover some information that in general will help alleviate that, particularly over time. There's so much. It's such a broad, wide range that it's really kind of impossible to do it in short order. It is a lifelong avocation.
Brentwood, it does immediately. Capital gains tax too, if you add the kids. If you give them survivorship, where they get the house, if you pass, they may have to pay the capital gains tax eventually. But if they're given to them at the current value, Clay, that's a whole nother.
Well, at the time the gift is made,
or if they just get the deed.
There at that time, that's the time the gift was made.
Okay.
Capital gains taxes could be owed.
How?
Because you're gifting them an interest in the property at that time. So upon death, no taxes are owed.
No, because I kind of just did this. And no, there are no taxes owed. There are no taxes owed, no capital gains.
Well, there's an exemption if the value transferred is low enough. So, if you're transferring or adding or gifting assets, just like you are if you're gifting cash, there are gift tax exclusions. There's estate tax exclusions. So whenever you get into transferring assets or gifting cash, large amounts of cash, you probably need competent tax advice
Well,
on
let me
that specific transaction in that state
state,
or
yes.
country.
In North Carolina, it
Yeah,
was.
we don't want to be giving out specific advice.
I'm just relaying my experience and what I was told in North Carolina. Is that
Okay.
fair or no?
Yeah.
So my grandfather, because he had I guess I told this earlier, even though I didn't give the names, had a joint deed with survivorship.
I wouldn't go into all the details. Yeah, that's just his business. I wouldn't go into any details.
Anyway, the part of his deed was left to me. His portion. No taxes need to be paid. There's nothing at the time. And being a single man, there would have been capital gains tax because the value of the property now versus what it was. And that's not an issue. It doesn't go through probate. It just immediately just goes to the next person and that's it.
Yeah, he was able to gift it at the cost basis rather than current value. So, but again, if you're going to transfer assets or cash, you probably of some size or significance, you probably need to get competent tax advice.
Or an estate attorney.
Yeah. All right, few suggestions. Let's finish this up on RRIFs. A few hints or tips. If your spouse is younger than you, base the annual withdrawals on their age. That way it'll reduce the amount of income you have, but make it last longer. So your spouse, if they survive you, they'll still have income coming in. Question from Melissa. Can we get a definition of capital gains tax? Sure. There are two in the US, there are two different forms of income. There's ordinary income, which is dividends and salary. Capital gains tax would be the gain or loss, the capital gain or loss would be the change in the price. So, for example, if I buy a stock at $100 and that stock pays me a $2 dividend, that $2 dividend is taxed as ordinary income, just like salary. That stock may grow to $120, $150, $200. I don't sell it. So I don't pay gains on that. It's unrealized. But once I sell that stock, if I bought it for 100, sold it for 200, that $100 difference, that $100 gain is a capital gain.
Okay, can you make
Capital
it like
gains,
a house?
capital gains have two different components. Hold on just a second, Ellen. I'll get to that. You get to your question just a second. Capital gains have two different components or types, short-term and long-term. In the US, if you held that asset for 6 months or less, that's a short-term capital gain. And oftentimes they are taxed like ordinary income, salary. Long-term capital gains in the US receive a lower tax rate. The maximum tax currently on long-term capital gains is 20% or 15%. I think it's 15%. So how it's categorized greatly impacts the tax rate you owe on it. So capital gains, ordinary income. Long-term capital gains, short-term capital gains. Long-term capital losses, short-term capital losses. So the accounting for them gets to be a little bit of a pain, if you've got stocks that you're buying and selling and doing them on your taxes. Best way to handle that is just do it on a net basis. If you've got a small portfolio, you have $100 in, you take $200 out, you've got $100 gain. How long did you hold it? But those are generally better applicable for larger portfolios. Ellen, what were you saying?
I think a house example is a good one. If you buy a house for $100,000 and then in 2 years it's 350 and you were a couple, you have to pay capital gains tax when you sell it on the $250,000 that you made.
Not if you buy a house of that value or higher.
Not unless you trade it in, but you have to do it within a certain amount of time.
You have to do it within 2 years. So you have to buy a house equal to that value or higher, and you don't owe taxes. If you buy a house of lower value, you owe taxes on the difference, whatever the gain is. A few other tips on IFs. Don't forget, IFs can have a different frequency of payments that may or may not be advantageous to you. You can always transfer your IF from one institution to another, and there should be no taxes accrued. It should be a tax-free transfer. So if you don't like the way somebody is servicing your account or answering the phone or whatever, you can transfer it to another custodian. If married, name your spouse as the successor annuitant, quote unquote, successor annuitant. Then the funds remaining after your death would be transferred to their account and payments continue as it is. This avoids the estate taxes. And then finally, invest carefully. Many will, as they get older, they choose the quote unquote, the safest investments because they're afraid of risk. Safest investment means the lowest return. But keep in mind, people are living longer now, and your life after retirement may be longer than 20 years. The RIF payment calculations were basically based on a 20-year life expectancy. You may have a longer life. So you don't want to invest in the lowest return investment you can. Remember the story about the little old redheaded lady. You've always got risk. Always got risk. It may be purchasing power risk, that your investment doesn't yield a high enough rate to cover taxes and inflation. So over the years, the dollars you're receiving purchase less and less. Purchasing power risk, inflation risk. We've seen a lot of people get hammered by that over the past few years. The poor, the middle class have had to greatly adjust even their food purchases. They some of them are suffering greatly. Inflation is a great it's a great moral evil. So you've always got to be cognizant of that risk. And if you've got 20, 30, 40 years to live, take any 30-year period in the stock market, and figure out the average. It's probably going to be around 10 to 12%. You'll have a hard time finding a 30-year period when it's not. Now, that doesn't mean there's not some short-term risk. You can invest and the market drops the day after you invest. That's not fun. But, where will you be better off 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years now? Those are the questions you have to answer for yourself and make the best decision you can. No decision is perfect. All of them have risk. That's my point. I just want you aware of that risk so that you can better manage it. I can't take that risk from you, but hopefully can help you better understand it to manage it. Melissa, thank you. That's interesting on the housing. Hope it helps.
Yeah, there's so
Uh,
many little nuanced details as far as the capital gains goes and all the tax stuff. We try to make it simple, but it's, and Clay will say element's not, completely right. I know, but there's a general thing, and then there's all the details that could totally screw that up.
Yeah, I don't want to spend the whole show issuing disclaimers, but
This is general information. This is not financial advice.
in one way, I almost feel like I'm legally obligated to. So I'm very, very cautious about, us getting into certain details or saying certain things because
Well, we have a disclaimer on the bottom of the
there
thumb
could be very serious consequences for somebody if they just say, well, Moffat said this, so must have been good. I
There's a
appreciate the
disclaimer.
confidence.
There's a
Yeah.
disclaimer right there.
But,
On the bottom.
my concern is for the people listening that, they don't just take something I say in a Cliff Notes version and take it to be absolute, complete gospel in all situations, all circumstances, at all times. Circumstances, environments, issues, laws change. And, we're speaking to people who are in Canada, who are in Scotland, who are in Russia, all over. And so I can't, when I start talking about specific North Carolina laws, that may apply to almost nobody that listens. But
True.
some people may hear it and think, that's what the law is in the US. No. So
It's state by state. We are state governed. That is a thing.
yeah, I want to be just, I'm almost obsessed with being careful about what we say and how we phrase it. And, Ellen has a good heart, wants to share and very open. And, I admire that. I am not as open and I am more cautious in what I share because, I've spent a good bit of my life in court. I've been in, either as an expert witness or litigant. I don't know, 100 different cases. I've taken 4 different business law courses, securities law, whatever. I'm not a lawyer, but I've had my face kicked in and I know enough to be cautious. So that's my concern.
I am more about sharing my experience. And if that helps you figure out something to ask your attorney about or to ask whoever about, say, hey, what if because I didn't know anything about any of this. And I spent quite a bit of time with an attorney with my grandfather. And I was like, wow, okay, so I don't need like a POA. I don't need no, because
Power of attorney.
You're on this. This is happening. And there's really nothing else to worry about. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So he said there will be no probate. There'll be no, you're good.
Yeah. Big issue is, if you care about the people who succeed you, a big issue is helping them avoid probate. Cause, for example, if you have if you have a joint account, your spouse dies, but you're still getting checks made out to both spouses, you'll have to cash that check. You'll have to take it down to the clerk, possibly in a lot of states, you'll have to take it down to the clerk of the court, have them document it.
Wait.
Note it.
The court in the county that, if you're in the United States, the person passed in, and they get an affidavit of What I tell you it was? You have to get an affidavit from the clerk of court to get that check released to the surviving spouse.
Yeah. So probate is just tedious. It usually consumes 10 to 30% of the estate value.
Mhm.
So it can be very expensive. And, if it can be avoided then with very little effort, then, that's just something for you to consider. If you don't have any particular inheritors or any survivors, then, do whatever's best for you.
Donate whatever you want to.
Yeah. Just make sure you spell my name correctly.
Oh, stop it.
Sky Ricky. Don't worry. We all understand and appreciate everything. Thank you very much. And Brentwood, we're just friends hanging out, talking about life experiences.
See?
Y'all need to talk more. Don't let us hog the conversation. One other last piece of advice after invest carefully is understand that any income you get from the income fund may impact other benefits that you can possibly receive in Canada, such as the OAS, the old age security payments. So you want to consider that as you determine. Do what?
You have to keep your payments to the minimum if you get other benefits that outweigh the cash that you would receive.
Well, it's kind of like Social Security. As your income goes, you pay higher taxes on your Social Security amounts that you received. And eventually they'll just tax Social Security at 100%. So if you make enough outside of Social Security, then you won't basically be collecting your Social Security. It'll all be taxed. But, if you retire early and you don't have a choice, if you retire or roll over into an IF at 71, you don't have a choice in the minimum payment. Nothing you can do about it. But if you retire at 65, you're going to start your IF at 66. Those payments may cut into some other benefits that you're getting. You just want to be aware of that possibility and look at that before you make a final determination on when to start payments and how much you receive. So that's all the tips for RRIFs and RRSP. Hope that helps.
It does. And last time we were here, I swear we decided on a date for the book club, and Clay told me he couldn't remember what it was.
Ellen told me she couldn't remember what it was either, so I am not alone in that regard.
With you, and I was just sitting there with a dog or a cat. And so, yeah, if anybody can remember, that would be great.
Also, we have decided that December 22nd, that Saturday, we'll do the
I think you're
members videos. The book club is December the 9th.
That's what Brentwood says. I trust her.
Okay.
Or January 9th. Oh, I think I thought it was.
I think we delayed it to January.
Let's do a new poll. Can you do that? December 9th wasn't an option. Okay.
Yeah. I think we did decide to delay it. I think it was tied, and because of everybody being gone for the holidays and all the other stuff going on, we just decided to delay it to January the 9th.
Well, let's do it on the community page and see what happens just one more time.
Okay. I'll put one up on the community page.
Awesome. All right, Brentwood. Dang, Canada just calling it like it is, huh? Old age security. U.S. would have loved that with something like mature security. Of course they would.
We'd have everybody retreating to their safe spaces.
No kidding. Yeah, January 9th. I'm with y'all. I think it works for me.
Okay.
Brentwood, you good with that? Carson, you good with that? Sky Ricky, you good with that? Everybody else? Because I was thinking after the holidays might be better than during the holidays.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's just go with January the 9th.
Sweet. So just put that on the
I'll
calendar.
make an executive decision here.
Is that 7 on Zoom?
Yes, it'll be on Zoom.
Yes, it will, Melissa. Which book are we on? The Power of Pain. Yes, Sky Ricky, The Power of Pain. I'm impressed. Carson even went and checked it out at the library.
I think it's a good little book. I mean, I'm biased. C.S. Lewis is, as I've said before, is my favorite author.
The problem.
He manages to express complex problems in a enlightened, I won't say entertaining, but an interesting way, an informative way. He's just possessed of a very good mind and a good ability to communicate. And I appreciate that about him. So, Problem of Pain. C.S. Lewis. Sky Ricky. It's painful.
Sorry. Dude, you're heavy and you want to get up here. So here you are. Yeah. So we got to cheer for Carson. He went and actually got the book from the library, checked it out. He's going to join us and probably derail everything because that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
Are you mad that Mahoney's in your bed?
Hmm? Carson is a much appreciated member of the show, along with you, Sky, along with you, Brentwood, along with you, Melissa. We do enjoy having y'all.
By the way, how's that knife juggling going, Melissa? She was juggling things in the kitchen. You know, he's a little comedian. Makes us laugh. I hope all of you guys are there. That would be awesome. Because it was fun. I mean, it was just like 3 of us last time, but it was fun.
Yeah, and the idea is to, give people better opportunity to share and, express different ideas, thoughts, whatever. Secondly, as I was saying, December 22nd, we're going to have the members videos. So I need y'all to be, cutting a short little video telling me of your favorite Christmas memory, what you love most about the season, what makes you happiest, whatever. Just tell us a little bit of something about what you love about the Christmas season, the holiday season,
just show your favorite ornament if it means something to you, or whatever.
The Hanukkah season, the Kwanzaa season, whatever. It doesn't have to be anything complex. Or if you are a little bit concerned about doing a video for privacy concerns, if you want to just type out a little something and send it to me, I'll be glad to read it. Either anonymously or using your screen name, whatever's best for you. But it's just, Christmas is a family time, and we don't have a whole lot of family. And so we thought y'all are our family. So we just thought, we would take this time and just share a little bit with family. So y'all chip in. I'm going to be posting some reminders to people that have asked questions and sending out emails as reminders. So hopefully we can get some good participation. And if y'all know anybody that, has or is a member of the show, encourage them to do it as well. Melissa, I need to borrow the knives. They are not to be shared. You're out of luck, Melissa.
Alexa, no, hush. I didn't ask you anything. Sorry.
Carson, I'll do what I can to join. I'll be dependent on life. Aren't we all? Sky Ricky, holidays are painful.
They are.
I kind of hate to admit that, but the best days were when they had little kids and they were all excited and running around and being noisy and wearing my ass out and, all the big
Parents
family
annoying
meals.
us and
Huh?
our parents annoying us, and
Yeah. And couldn't go to sleep and all this kind of stuff. So,
we
um,
get it.
it doesn't mean they still can't be a good few days. So we'll try to do what we can. The book will help.
Mhm. But we're with you, Scott. I know that last year, Secret McSquirrel and I set up a Discord for those of us who just didn't really have anybody to be with for Christmas. And so we just all went into that. I can't remember what she called it, but she set it up, and it was cute and it was fun. And we're just like, hey, everybody, what are y'all doing by yourselves? Because we are too. But yeah, Sky, you can reach out to us. We're not doing much.
So y'all come join us. We'll share Christmas together on the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Alexa, hush, may be the most Southern thing I've heard today. And I live in Tennessee.
I've been up in the mountains for the past few days. Yeah, my Southern drawl is getting a little much.
Carson, maybe we could make a knife fun for Melissa. I love Melissa, but if there's going to be a knife fun for anybody, I got first dibs.
You already have 2 new knives.
You can always use more.
No, Melissa gets a knife fun.
Melissa gets a knife fun. Okay.
Since Carson started the joke when she said, I'm juggling things in the kitchen, he said, I hope it's not knives. It was funny. Melissa is totally okay with that. Oh, what?
I hear Chunk whining.
Yes, he's whining.
These dogs are cute. They're really sweet, but they are high maintenance.
No,
they
it's
are
just
constant attention
all the time.
Yeah. And Chunk will talk to you. He will let you know what he's thinking. He is not happy or he needs more attentions.
Oh, in the morning, he loves to wake you up with the girl. Every freaking morning, don't you, buddy?
Right at 5:45 to 6 o'clock. He's got like this internal clock thing down pat.
But not when he sleeps with me. He waits till like 8:30.
Yeah. No, he comes in and wakes me up. Don't leave the knife sleeve like Kohlberger.
Y'all are the Kohlberger, Idaho 4.
Doesn't ring a bell.
The guy who came in and killed 4 of the co-eds in the house in Idaho.
That must be a YouTube thing.
No. Brian Kohlberger. He killed the students.
Oh, I believe you. I'm just not familiar with it.
Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just don't. Oh my goodness, y'all. Surgery tomorrow will fix his brain too. I don't know.
I'm pleading the absent-minded professor thing.
Are you a defense lawyer?
Oh, geez.
Oh, see?
Look at y'all. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy y'all. Carson, okay, I have a 4-year-old demanding attention. It's time to Zoom the 15-year-old.
I've got a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old demanding attention. Come on now. I'll trade you. Yeah, following your uncle. You can't, innocent till proven guilty. That's how we do it, guys. That's the justice system in the United States. It's how it's supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like we, kind of been falling a little short of that standard, as well as
you win You win, Melissa. You have an 8-month-old. Yeah, there. Those little puppies, little green bean, has an issue. They are high maintenance. Carson says mine are less hairy. He's barking at Chuck. Aw. Green bean.
We need to get Green Bean and Chunk together. They would probably have a grand old time.
I bet so. Playful. Are you still talking to me? Yeah. Oh. What? He went the what? I think he needs to go OUTSID.
OUT.
Yeah. I'm gonna take care of that. I know, buddy. So I exhausted from yesterday, maybe a little chunky green bean. That's pretty good. That would be it would be awesome. I hear you. Okay. So I'm probably heading out because oh my gosh, I did all the things. I didn't get home till late last night and I'm a little tired. Can y'all really hear him whining?
Oh yeah. He's just constant. I'm gonna mute.
He's mad now. He just wants to go out. So, y'all, good night, sweet dreams. I'm gonna take this very loud, talkative puppy out, and I will see you on Saturday.
Bright and early.
One more time. There you go. Okay. Night, y'all.
Yeah, Chunk. I gotta admit, Chunk is a entertaining little spirit. He's a cute little guy. He really is. Just personality out the wazoo. I want to just check with our Canadian friends. Y'all have any other questions on the savings plan IF? Did that help confuse? Some other question I can maybe answer for you. And for those, more domestic types in terms of stateside, if you've got some questions on, retirement with 401ks, IRAs, now's a good time to ask. Brentwood's got to run. Sky, good night, everyone. Thank you, Sky. I appreciate the questions. I really do. That's really what the Tuesday night for is, for y'all to have a chance to ask questions and have things addressed that you want to see addressed. Appreciate y'all being here. And, it seems like a good time for everybody just to just head out and call it a night. I've got surgery early in the morning, so I'm not opposed to the idea either. I do appreciate y'all being here. And I notice when Ellen leaves, y'all leave. So she's in there and she heard that. She's actually enjoying that greatly. Y'all get out of here. Go have a good night and a good week. Blessings to you. Our time is up. We thank you for yours.